Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and KWBY, and again on Saturday morning at 9 on KATX and KWBY as Angela Robinson joins Terry Slavens to share important financial information to help you live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, estate and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
Life Planning 101 right here on KTX, KWBY. Terry Slavens with you, and Angela back with, well, you were here last week.
Yes, it was you that was
2
missing.
weeks ago, we had your dad and Aaron in on the show, and that was a good show.
Yes.
We enjoyed that very much.
Yes. Well,
But,
good morning. We've got a great show lined up for today.
Last week was all about protecting your identity.
That's right. We had a special guest on, Junior Pacheco from Texas Bank. So privileged to have him on, and their research and fact finding was just phenomenal to
I
have.
actually
So
listened to the show driving to Stephenville, and some of the stats he threw out were just totally mind-boggling.
I know. And who is, the thieves, I guess, of your identity it's really sad. And so if you haven't listened to that show, be sure to go in the archives, KATXradio.com, KWBYradio.com. Always you can find us on our own website, Kennedy-financial.com. We're on all kinds of things, iTunes, iHeartRadio. Everywhere. So you can re-listen to that show.
Yeah, and I've been victim of identity theft. I've had a debit card stolen.
Yes.
They bought flowers and got on a dating site.
Ooh.
I had to explain that one.
Yeah. How did that go with the wife?
And,
that's the best identity theft story I think I've heard.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
They did. I mean, I was like, wow, no, I did not do that. I did not do that at all. But anyway, I've had people file a tax return.
Yes.
And get a refund.
Yep.
And
we only have one person, I think, tweet that they have not been a victim of identity theft last week. So that kind of gives you an idea of what happens. But we do have a great topic today, and I want to tell you a little back history of where this came from. So while I was out, while Aaron and Jim were in here talking about the market, I was privileged, and I have been privileged for the last 3 years to be a part of something called the Forum 400. And it is the top life insurance producers in the entire nation, and they're very selective. They only let in a few. There, even though it's 400 members, could be it. There's less than 250 members currently. So, but it's phenomenal. I mean, I literally am sitting there listening to the guy that sold life insurance to Donald Trump. Okay, so these are the type of people that I am around, and it's just amazing. There's also a gentleman there that we, of course, have on our retainer that the IRS calls when they don't understand their own tax code. So, these are the type of people I'm surrounded by. And I go there because it is just an incredible font of information that I come back with. I come back with 30, 40 pages of handwritten notes. And it just helps not only, who we're working with today, but who we might be working with tomorrow. Gains us a lot of resources and collection to people. There's a 6 degrees of separation. It gets us that much closer to who we need to know, when we need to know, because we don't claim to know everything. But if we know enough to be dangerous, we can find the right resources, right?
Right.
And so it's pretty phenomenal that I get to do that. Well, there was a gentleman there named Joseph Jordan, and he got up and told a story about why he was in the business, and he's written several books. But the bottom line of it, his dad was actually an attorney, and he was actually an attorney in the White House, and they had 2 homes, and they needed to get another home in Washington, D.C., and so the only money that he had was inside of his life insurance policy to put down as a down payment. So he canceled his life insurance policy to put that on a down payment. Well, that same week he was killed in a train wreck.
Oh my gosh.
So left his mother, him and his brother, and then his 2 sisters. And he went on to tell about how his sisters never went to college, never did anything for themselves because their mother said, we've got to get these boys into college. So they started working at the age of 12 years old. And, you could hear the passion and the anger come out in him that, why didn't my dad's agent pick up the phone and say, are you stupid? Do you really think you should be doing this? And the truth is, with that is that, it hit home, because what I realized in that moment is that when we work with people, we're dealing with people's most valuable possessions: their family,
right,
and their wives, their husbands, the people that mean the most to them. And if we don't do a good job telling people why they need to do something when we know it's in their best interest, because as a life planning firm, we don't just have one solution as life insurance. We've got every solution. We look at everything, right? But if we don't do a good enough job to get people to do something to avoid something like that happening, what are we doing wrong? Right?
You're leaving them out. You're hanging them out to dry.
We're hanging them out to dry.
Setting them up for failure.
That's exactly right. And, this is why you always say, you always tell me, you travel a lot. You go to a lot of education, a lot of learning. Yes, we do. We do a lot of that. And the reason we do is because we wear so many hats with the families that work with. I just wrote out a list. I thought, okay, here's some of the things we do. We crunch numbers. We find gaps, overlaps, risk. So that's all education, right? Just being able to know what to look for. We create plans. We look at options for people. We give advice. We counsel people. We motivate people. We quarterback with people among their CPAs, their attorneys, their other professionals, other advisors, right? We help people through the greatest times in their lives, when they sell a business or they get to retire. We help people through the worst times in their lives, when they lose the person that's most precious to them.
Right.
And working through that and having to deal with the financial chaos that surrounds that, or dealing with someone that's sick inside their household and where they feel like they can't breathe and they don't know how to handle it, right? We listen to what's said and we listen to what isn't said. And we have to be trained to do all these things.
That's the definition of a good listener, the one that will listen to what is said, but also be able to pick up what they don't say.
That's exactly right. So, when we do all of that, and in our best efforts, and we watch someone do something or not do something that we know that if they don't do, it could be detrimental to their spouse or their family member, we have to ask ourselves, what did we do wrong? What could we have done different to help them make a better decision? And my dad's always saying, you can only help people that want to be helped. And I do believe that to a total true extent, that people that want to be helped are the only people that you can, right?
Sure.
We're all hard-headed. And if we're not willing to, let down our pride to get help, then there's nothing you can do. But I still think that at the same time, you have to ask yourself, what makes people say, no, not yet, later, oh, well, I'm going to do it anyway? What makes them make those decisions?
A lot of it has to do with they don't want to face the truth.
They don't want to face reality, or they feel like it won't happen to me, or they feel like, well, I can just deal with that another day, or they can feel like perfectionism. I'm not perfect yet. I don't have the perfect idea yet. I don't have the perfect plan yet. I don't have time to do the perfect thing yet. So I'm not going to do anything. And I have a saying that you've heard it many times in your life before. Done beats perfect every time. Our team hates to hear me say that because they're all a bunch of perfectionists. But it's so true. Just imagine if someone with this crazy flu epidemic, right?
Right.
A mother of a kid and a husband dies of the flu, and because she was waiting for perfection in her budget to be able to go buy that perfect permanent life insurance policy, she didn't get a term life insurance policy in the meantime, and she died in this flu epidemic. Just imagine that. So what does that mean to you? What do you need to be working on? And I think that's what we all have to face for ourselves, is everybody's a little bit different, but what is making us say no, not yet? I'll wait for perfection, or it won't happen to me. And are those things that we really need to step back and take a look at? And what I want to share with you today when we come back are a few stories and items, because this isn't just life insurance. This is everything in life. And I want to circumvent some things that have happened over the last 12 months, that if you would have said no, not yet, or later, what the difference could be if you hadn't.
All right, we'll be back with more Life Planning 101 right after this on KATX KWBY. Segment 2 of Life Planning 101. Angela Kennedy Robinson with us this morning. Great topic as usual, Angela.
Yes, done beats perfect every time. So, we were talking a little bit about the fact that we all deal in our industry with the people that are most precious in other people's lives. And at the end of the day, that's really what we're doing. Right. We're designing plans to protect yourself, but also protect your loved ones that you leave behind. And I'm going to pick on men today a little bit.
Here we go.
Okay. And the only reason I get to do this is because, and I think I shared this on a show earlier. I actually got to listen to a psychiatrist talk about the difference between men and women, right? And of course, you're giggling because there's a lot of differences between men and women. But this one in particular makes a lot of sense. So if you think about when you're a young man and you had your baby, right? And you may have been sitting there throwing him in the air and your wife is panicking. Why are you throwing him that high? What could happen? Why is she panicking? Well, she's already gone to the consequences. That baby's going to get dropped. We're going to be in the hospital. It could be brain damage, I mean, just all these things happen. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, that'll never happen. Confidence, right?
Right.
And so men never go to the consequence when they're doing something. And women always go to the consequence. Okay, so the reason I'm going to pick on men today is because I'm going to talk about the consequence. I'm going to make you go there, whether you like it or not, because that's the truth of it, right? We all want to believe that we're resilient and that nothing can ever happen to me, but we live in a day and age that's just not true. And I want to start by something that really people don't think about. And I want you to think about if it ever happened to you, but you did become paralyzed and you left your wife behind with no financial support as she washed you, fed you, and took care of your 3 children. We're resilient, right? So
Absolutely.
Something actually happens. And did you know the Social Security Administration has a new study out that they're predicting that one out of every 4 20-year-olds out there today will have a disability before they are retired.
Wow.
Yes. 12% of our population today is disabled in the United States. 12%, okay? People always talk about death, right? But you're more likely to become disabled than you are to have a premature death.
Right.
And so are you protected in that measure?
Disability insurance.
Yeah, most people aren't. And did you know, okay, let me just ask you this question. Could your family live on $1,197 a month?
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's what the average disability Social Security check is. So if you're thinking the government will take care of you if you became disabled, you need to think again, right? Because that's a big number. And a lot of people say, well, maybe those are all retired people or whatnot, right? Over half, 51% of people, and these are all U.S. Census Bureau things, you can look them up. Over 51% of disabled people today are under the age of 65 years old. More than half. More than they are over the age of 65. Think about that. Yet we do nothing about it, right? We think, oh, it'll never happen to me. How many times have we ever said that in life, right? Well, go to the consequence. Think about what would actually happen, and is that okay? Is it okay if your wife is left to wash you, bathe you, feed you, and take care of your 3 kids, and go out and get a job? Are you all right with that?
And with people living so much longer.
Yes. It happens on the back end.
Yes.
Right? So speaking of that, you'll move me into one other. One of the things that I'll never forget this story. I was listening, and it was actually at a Forum 400 event. And it was this lady up on stage, and she was actually an insurance agent. And her dad had a major disability after the age of, I think he was 75 years old. He had fell and had some big problems. Well, her mother was no longer living. And so it was her and her 3 kids, and her dad lived in Denver. She lived in Ohio, and her other 2 siblings lived far away as well. So what she did was she put her career on hold, and she'd fly back and forth to Denver, take turns with her sister, okay, to go take care of dad while she had 3 children at home to be able to take care of. And so she put them on the back burner.
Right.
So she could just physically take care of someone that said, it will never happen to me.
Wow. Powerful stuff.
Yes, it is. The thing is that we don't think about the consequences of not doing something right now just because we're invincible, just because it'll never happen to me. I'll never forget someone once told me, well, I've got a plan for long-term care. Well, I said, I don't know if I want to know what your plan is. He says, well, it involves a 22. And I said, the thing is that can you even be there? Can you even get to that point that if you really choose to commit suicide, okay, will you be of sound of mind to be able to do that? Or could you leave your kids, not only just your spouse, your kids in a situation that, like this woman, are physically having to come back and stop their lives, stop their children's lives, their extracurricular activities and everything that they have going on just to be able to take care of you? Puts things in a whole new light, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So, done beats perfect every time, right? When we continue, we're going to talk more than insurance. We're going to talk about some things that you probably need to look at for your New Year's resolution list. It's not too late. It's only the first week of February.
Absolutely. Final segment of Life Planning 101 here on KTX KWY. Let's get to it, Angela.
Done beats perfect every time. So how about this couple? They were 10 years away from retirement last year, all right? And they knew they could save like $3,000 a month up front. Well, it wasn't going to be enough because they hadn't saved enough. So when we ran out the plan, they needed to save more like $5,500 a month. Because they couldn't save that much, guess what they saved last year? Nothing. Guess how much the market went up last year?
A bunch.
21.14%. Ouch, right? Done beats perfect every time.
Every time.
I don't care what, everybody's getting a pay raise, right? Your new paycheck, save it. I don't care what it is, save it, put it back. Everybody can. There's nobody exactly. There's nobody that can say I have too much money when they retire. I promise you. just save it. It's worth everything. And we're going to talk more about taxes next week. You're not going to want to miss this show. But remember, when you want to know how much you can save, you can actually go to our website, kennedy-financial.com. It's right there on the front screen. You enter in your numbers, it takes you 2 seconds, it pops out how much you need to be saving. Pretty easy. So it gives you an idea to be able to work off. But even if you can't do that, done beats perfect every time.
Yeah, a little bit.
Something.
Half of something's better than all of nothing.
That's right. And so that brings me to the market, too. If we haven't noticed, it's been down the last couple of days. But can you imagine this? Liquidating all of your investments at the bottom of the market in 2009. The Dow Jones was at 6,443. Guess what it was last week?
26,000.
That's right. Over 4 times that amount. Ouch.
Yes.
We actually watched a lady do that. Her husband begged her not to do it. And then she didn't remember doing it. Oh. Don't let your emotions get to the best of you. Make sure you've got a plan in place, because I do know it's scary as a retiree and you're worried that you can't lose money, but you can plan for things like that. And the Dow is dipping. This S&P is dipping right now. And rather than running away from it, you know what you should be doing?
Jump in.
Buying. That's right. That's exactly right. Because what if this is the only pullback that we get over the next 3-5 years? You're going to miss it.
Absolutely.
Right? So make sure you've got a plan to be able to work that out. All right? What about this? What about your estate planning? Your life's work. A business that you built from the ground up. We've watched this be torn up by your spouse's new husband's attorney, your kids' spouse's attorney, your kids' attorneys, and people you've never met and their attorneys before. Okay? Just because you don't have anything in place because you don't know what to do is the perfect plan, right?
Right.
Done beats perfect. Every time. What about dying without a will, leaving your wife of 30 years with only half of the money that you had saved for retirement, because in the state you live in, they have a will for you, and half of that went to your children from a previous marriage. Woo! Guess what? It's happened. Done beats perfect. Yes, done beats perfect every time. We live in a day where there's over 50% blended families in this country. Do something about it. Don't just sit back and wait. If you need to get your estate plan done, get something done. Something's better than nothing. Trust me on this one. What about this? Losing 40% of every penny you save because to the IRS because you didn't do any planning whatsoever. All these laws that we just got, this new estate tax law, all this is sunsetting in a few years.
Right.
You've got a window of time to plan. And if you don't do that, you might as well just say bye-bye to 40% of some of your money. You need to be planning today. Done beats perfect every time. What about your children never spending a good Christmas or a Thanksgiving Day together? Again, because, my children would never do that. Right? They'd never fight over anything. usually it's not the children. Usually it's the children's spouses.
Right.
But how strong are marriages?
Very.
Very.
Hopefully.
Right? And we remember having Steve Markin on the phone with us one of our shows where he talked about the family that the one brother was just so busy he couldn't get the estate planning done. And it took him so long that the other parts of the family hired an attorney and then they never have spoken again.
Right.
Did he do anything wrong? No. Just too busy.
Just didn't do anything.
That's right. Didn't do anything. So, the whole point is that you do something, right? Imperfect action always beats perfect inaction. I promise you that. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to have something, because the truth is that you'll wake up one day and you'll realize that you didn't do anything and you might regret it. And, we have that saying about, or that question about what is an unacceptable regret? And you really need to be considering that. We set all these New Year's resolutions and maybe even some of them are worn out. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, today's the first day of your rest of your life. Make a resolution for that.
Right.
Right? Tweet us. Let us know. Is there something you need to do today for the sake of your family or your future? Don't wait until everything is perfect just to do something. My name is Angela Robinson with Kennedy Financial Services here in Eastland, Texas. We thank everyone for listening to the show every single week, and may God bless you and your families. And please, just do something for yourself. Do something for your family.
Because done beats perfect.
That's right. Every time.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and KWBY, and again on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on KATX and KWBY for more Life Planning 101.
Advisory services offered through Smart Money Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Kennedy Financial Services Incorporated is an independent of Calton & Associates Incorporated and Smart Money Group, LLC.